We never really appreciate what we've got until it's too late. That's why when people get robbed or pick up a virus from their smartphones, they regret not taking better care of themselves. That's also why the people who live on the most isolated town in the world are happy that they do have internet. Hi everyone, I'm your host and welcome to this channel. Today we'll look at the most isolated town in the world and why people actually live there. Now, if you're watching this video on another platform, chances are you won't find any comments about how annoying ads are or other complaints about the site. That's because our comments section has been taken over by artificial intelligence. These AI programs are trained on user reviews so they know exactly how to get under your skin, and trust me, they're enjoying it. So let's go back to a place without annoying comments and bad ads. The most isolated town in the world. It's called Tristan da Cunha. Tristan da Cunha is an island in the South Atlantic Ocean, halfway between South Africa and Antarctica. So if you thought you were far away from civilization, just consider that this place exists. Tristan da Cunha is the highest point of a small archipelago, which includes two other islands, Nightingale Island and Inaccessible Island. Together, these islands form the third highest seamount in the Indian Ocean basin. A seamount is a mountain that rises from the ocean floor but doesn't reach the surface. All three islands are made up of solidified lava flows and were formed between 6 million and 15 million years ago. They're all uninhabited except for one community. It's called Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. It has a population of fewer than 250 people. That makes it the smallest settlement in terms of population on Earth. And because no place is further from Edinburgh of the Seven Seas, it's also the most isolated settlement on Earth. In fact, Tristan da Cunha is more than 2,430 kilometers from the nearest inhabited land, the island of St. Helena. The closest major city is Cape Town, South Africa, more than 2,800 kilometers away. If you wanted to visit, you would have to take a boat, plane, or helicopter. There aren't any roads connecting the islands. You can't drive there. The only way to access Tristan da Cunha is to catch a ship to Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. The last passenger ship that docked at the island was the S.A. Agulhas II. This research vessel left Cape Town on January and arrived 8 days later. You might be wondering why anyone would want to visit a place so far from everything. The answer is simple. Some people just like being alone. In fact, the people who live on the island asked for a total ban on commercial tourism. This means that unless you're related to someone who lives there or work there, you're probably not getting in anytime soon. Access to the island is strictly controlled, and even journalists need special permission to enter. So forget about flying in. The only aircraft that regularly visits the island is a small plane that leaves once a week. It travels from and back to the island of St. Helena. It takes about 50 minutes to fly between them. Helicopter rides are even less common. Only emergency services use helicopters. But even though Tristan da Cunha is very far away from everything, its residents receive supplies from the outside world. Food and other essentials are shipped in on cargo ships, but you won't find many luxuries in the general store. Residents say the shop sells basic items like bread, flour, rice, oil, sugar, and tea. Tristan da Cunha residents also grow some of their own food. They have vegetable gardens. However, they can't grow things like meat or dairy. There isn't much rainfall on the island. Seawater evaporates and creates salty lakes and ponds, but not enough fresh water. Because of this, they have to collect rainwater to drink. There are also no cars on the island. The terrain is too rough for vehicles. Plus, it's a bit unnecessary when there's no place to drive to. Because of the lack of infrastructure, life on the island is pretty simple. That's why it's also difficult to earn money on Tristan da Cunha. The only occupations on the island are postmaster, carpenter, electrician, nurse, and police officer. Tourism is illegal, so there's no industry to support either. Residents can fish to eat, but they're not allowed to sell their catch. In fact, they can't sell anything grown or caught on the island, but they don't mind. They don't need money. Their main concern is surviving on the island. Living conditions are tough. Homes are made of concrete and steel to withstand strong winds and heavy rains. Each house has a metal roof, but sometimes the weather gets too rough and the residents have to repair their roofs. Heavy storms destroy gardens. Animals can cause damage too. Wild pigs dig up vegetable patches and rats destroy buildings. But despite these challenges, people still choose to live there. In fact, they choose to live there on purpose. The first settlers came to the island in the 17th century. Back then, pirates used the island as a hideout. Then British soldiers came and stationed themselves on the island. Finally, civilians arrived. Since then, the population has been growing slowly but steadily. Today, Tristan da Cunha is a British overseas territory. Its economy is based on fishing and farming. Agriculture is limited, but livestock thrives on the island. Goats, sheep, donkeys, horses, and cattle roam the hillsides. These animals were brought to the island by sailors and have been there ever since. Cats were also brought to the island to control rodents, but they proved to be very good hunters and now hunt endangered seabirds. Despite its remoteness, Tristan da Cunha has a rich history. In World War II, the Royal Navy base there was used to send radio signals to ships. The base still operates today, but it's now known as the British Antarctic Survey. This organization maintains a research station on nearby Nightingale Island. Only a small team works there, so the real population of Tristan da Cunha is closer to 250 people. These people have lived on the island for generations. No one knows exactly how many people are on the island, because the census doesn't record ethnicity. However, people born on the island call themselves Tristaños. When a ship arrives from afar, it's considered a big event. When a baby was born on the island, the entire community gathered together to celebrate. It is easy to feel cut off from the rest of the world when you live on an island that far away from everything. At first, it sounds depressing, but residents seem to love living on Tristan da Cunha. Perhaps that's because they value their freedom. When you live on an island with no internet or cell service, you can disconnect from the constant barrage of information. The media landscape is changing rapidly, but some people just want to tune out. But why do they want to do that? Well, we live in a day and age where everyone shares personal information online. Some people enjoy showing off their lifestyle on social media platforms. Others simply don't care when they accidentally share something personal. In either case, people expose themselves to risk. Many hackers target Facebook and Instagram accounts because they contain personal information that can be used for identity theft. In fact, all it takes is one wrong move to have your entire financial world torn down. These days, you need to be careful about what you reveal online. It might seem like harmless fun, but posting photos and videos online is risky. Some people say the benefits of social media outweigh the negatives. Others couldn't disagree more. They would rather live far from all the drama and focus on living their best life offline. That's why they live on Tristan da Cunha. After all, they can enjoy nature without drones buzzing around. They can see stars without light pollution. They can go hiking and explore caves without worrying about search engine optimization. They can live without worrying about who sees what they post online. But every choice comes with pros and cons. Who are we to judge theirs? Now, if you want to learn more about places where few people live, check out Why Nobody Lives Here. See you next time.